All right, and you might have to say you got it,
We
or
got it.
or that's fine. Okay. Um, so this is the first out of, I believe there are gonna be 15 sessions. I'll, you know, what I've been, my habit is to send out an email every week telling you exactly what we're going to be doing. And sending out the link again, and just trying to keep everything as easy for you as possible. And I do give the page numbers out for Sim Shalom and Lev Shalem, and Fran, I'll add in Silverman, because and I also do have, I do have a version of Art Scroll, but it's probably not, it's a little pocket
I
size
got that one too.
probably won't correspond to maybe what if somebody
Right.
said they have Art Scroll. So I do try to give the pages out for 3 and maybe 4 different Sidurim. And as I said, the link, and I'll put the recording in there from the previous week and what I expect us to get through that particular week, and some supplementary materials that I've collected over the time, that you may or might not find interesting or helpful, or that's completely up to you. Okay. So I do ask, please let me know beforehand if you're not going to be here. With 17 people, I just need to know, like, is it okay to start even though 12 of you are only 12 of you are here, that kind of a thing. And I was also going to ask, if it's not too much trouble, or you don't have to, I'll just write it down when we go around. I was wondering where everybody is, because I know the people who are in California, this is really early for them. And, it's just nice to know where you are in your day, and if you just woke up 3 minutes ago, or, to get here. Okay. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I am not a professional teacher. I had a full 36-year career in the federal government, doing nothing like teaching anything, including Hebrew. I did teach a little bit in Hebrew school. I taught reading to 8 and 9-year-olds, and then I think 10 and 11-year-olds. So I do some experience teaching Hebrew. I'm not a complete novice. And I did teach, this is the 3rd time I'm teaching for the Women's League program. So I've, picked up a few things that I didn't have before. And, but that was for, as I was saying, for that intermediate class. So I don't know how different, or if it's going to be different at all, teaching you. But I did grow up, I went to Hebrew school, from 8 years old through I had a bat mitzvah when I was 13. It was on a Friday night, but it was a bat mitzvah. I learned how to read very well when I was 8 years old, and that has really been great throughout my life. Anything you learn when you're 8 years old is generally better than when you're 65. And when my synagogue allowed women to start reading Torah about 25 years ago, 1997, I learned how to read Torah, and I've been reading Torah and Haftorah for 25 years. So and I'm a gabbai during our services very often, and I lead services. Sometimes we don't have a cantor at my synagogue, so they let people like me lead services. So I just to give you a little bit about myself, I'm pretty confident in reading Hebrew. As far as what it all means, because as I'm sure we all know, we were taught Hebrew just how to read it. Nobody ever taught us what it meant. I mean, there might be exceptions. Some of you might have gone to day school or yeshiva, but people like me, we were never taught what anything meant, and we were just taught how to read it, right? But I have picked up an awful lot through Torah reading. I know what a lot of words mean now, and I've been taking a modern Hebrew class for about 5-6 years now. So I actually know what a lot of Hebrew means now, which is just it. I can't tell you how much of a difference it makes when you read a prayer and you realize, oh my God, I know exactly what I just said, and I don't have to look on the English side. So But I do not know what everything means. And this is my disclaimer that I would love to be able to tell you what every word means, but I do not know. And I don't want to mislead anyone. And so, if I'm absolutely sure of things, I will tell you, but I do not like to go into territory where I'm not sure and give you any misinformation. And with that, I think I would like to go around, if you would each just tell us where you are, where you learned the Hebrew that you do know, but very quickly, and just so we know who's here, who's with us. So I'm going to go, I have an alphabetical list. It's just easiest for me to do that. I'll on occasion try to remember to start with the S's and go back up to the C's so that we're not always starting with Roberta, but Roberta, you're first today. So.
Okay. I live in New Jersey, so this is not an unreasonable hour for me.
Okay.
I went to Hebrew school, Reformed synagogue, so did not learn much. And over the years, I've taken various introductory Hebrew reading classes. So I kind of know the letters and the vowels, and I just came out of the introduction to Hebrew reading class at my synagogue. And so I'm, I've had some recent study with that. I was a chemical engineer for many years. I'm retired now. And that's
okay, great. I'm glad you're here. Where in New Jersey? Just
you may have heard of Cherry Hill. I'm near Cherry Hill.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, thanks. Okay, Fran, hi. No, we can't hear you. I don't know why.
She's muted.
It says she's not muted, so I don't know.
For you. Okay. I'm from Toronto. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Originally, I'm from Rochester, and as you said, I started Hebrew school when I was 7, but somehow I managed to get all the way through Hebrew school and even through a Hebrew high school session that we had in the city, but never read properly. I do not know how to sound out my words. Most of the stuff that you're teaching here and most of the sitter I have memorized, and I've been singing in my choir at my synagogue, although we just became egalitarian a couple of years ago, for about 50 years. So I've relied on my memory to know all the prayers.
Yeah. And you'll have those. So did you take the women's league, the first part of the women's league class?
No, because I've taken the beginners class before.
Okay. So you'll be one of those people who will be reading something and you'll say, oh my God, I always thought that was a B and I know it was a cook, so it's very exciting when you get those moments. Yeah. Okay. I don't see Sandra. Am I right? Did you come while I was talking? No. Okay. Pixie.
Hi, I'm Pixie Cohn. I was born in Colorado, then we lived in upstate New York. I'm now in Austin, Texas. I too was bat mitzvahed on Friday night a long time ago. And I've taken classes off and on, and I know somewhat how to translate. And I don't have the right siddur, but I assume the prayers are similar or
you'll
the
be
same.
fine. You'll be fine because from now on we'll have the electronic versions, and I'll hopefully be able to. Yeah, we'll be good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. And Betty, I don't see either, right? I just don't want to make sure no one came while I was okay. Somebody just came. We're up to 15 now.
I did.
Who
Hi,
are
Barbara.
you? Oh, okay. Hi. Do you want to speak?
Yeah, I do. I was hoping you were still in introductions.
We are. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Julia Loeb. I just wanted to get on and introduce myself. I'm a Women's League Vice President and co-chair of the Education Committee. We are the part of Women's League that are sponsoring these classes, and you've probably sick of getting emails from me already about this class, but I'm really glad that all of you are here. I'm going to put my email in the chat in case so you don't have to like run through past emails. But if you have any questions, sometimes I'm sorry, I missed your introductions. I was in the other class that started today. But sometimes there's a lot of movement the first 2 weeks. And if you don't feel like you're in the right place or you have any other concerns, just please feel free to reach out to me. You're in very capable hands with Barbara. She probably did her intro already to tell you a little bit about it. But that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we have almost everyone here. I think we're still missing 4 people, so I don't know. That's actually a big part. That's almost 25%. So hopefully we'll find out where they are.
Yeah, just send me an email after.
Yeah, okay. Great. Thank you. Okay, so Jody.
Good morning. I'm Jody Jacklin. I'm out of Des Moines, Iowa. So it's not too bad here. It's only 9:15, so not too early. Was in the introductory of Hebrew about a couple semesters ago. And I wasn't able to participate as much in the next session. So now I'm in this one. And I have recently retired from John Deere Financial.
Okay, thank you. Good to have you. Oh, Jill, you're one of the 2 people I know. How exciting.
Hello, I am actually originally from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, but I live in Washington, DC. I am from the Addis Israel Sisterhood in Washington, and I never went to Hebrew school. So about 2002, I went through the adult bat mitzvah program at our synagogue, and that included a couple years of beginner Hebrew. And I am the slowest reader ever. I never keep up with everybody else. I'm always way behind. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to improve.
Okay, that's why we're here. Great, thanks. Rita, I did not see unless you came. Okay, and Sheila.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Sheila Lesser. I live in New York City in the Bronx, and but right now I'm in Boynton Beach, Florida for the winter. I'm a snowbird, as they say, and I belong to the conservative synagogue Addis Israel of Riverdale. And when I was growing up, there was no Hebrew school for me and no bat mitzvah for me because women at that time didn't have bat mitzvahs. But I did do the adult bat mitzvah class in our synagogue in 2002, around there. And I enjoyed it very much. I'm a shul goer, and that's what I can tell you.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds like you're in the right place. Lenore.
Hi, I'm also in Boynton Beach, Florida now, but I am a New Jersey resident. I just recently moved out of my family home where I lived for 46 years, and my new Jersey place isn't ready yet. But I never went to Hebrew school. And I took various adult ed classes, but I'm certainly cannot read very quickly. I need to sound out my words. And I'm always looking to improve my Hebrew.
Okay, and you will. Great. Thank you. Audrey.
Hi, I'm Audrey Marcus, and I grew up in Philadelphia, went to Hebrew school there, and then continued on to Gratz Hebrew College and went to Ramah. And in the interim years, I completely forgot a lot of the things I had learned in the beginning. And during services, Shabbat services, I'll find during the Amida that still on page 93 and they're on 102. So the prayers I don't know by rote, and I haven't heard a lot. I have to sound out, and it really never get through that Amida. And I don't know if I'm in the right class or not.
Right, we'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Sarah, Sarah Norris, in case
Yeah,
there's
I'm
another
here.
one.
I actually grew up in New York City and I was probably the only person that I knew who begged her parents to go to Hebrew school, but they wouldn't send me because they didn't
Oh.
belong anywhere. And so as an adult, I have been picking it up. I've had many interrupted lessons, including a couple of semesters of an ulpan, which was really frustrating since we were also doing script and novels, and the teacher assumed that we all could read well. But so I've been working on it on my own. I'm in Houston, Texas area. And yeah, I actually also find that if it's a prayer I know, I can read it very quickly and keep up. But I was really pleased that I actually was able to find my place in the Chumash while my friend was reading last Saturday. So there's hope, but I'm
there's a lot of
spotty.
them. Great. Where in New York? Which borough?
Oh, I grew up in Queens.
Yeah, I did too. Okay.
And my parents moved to the southern suburb of Fort Lauderdale when I was in high school.
Okay. All right, good. So yeah, we'll see. If you could find your place in the Chumash, in the middle of a Torah reading, you might be ahead of other people, but we'll
No,
see.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Okay. Cindy.
Hi, another Floridian here. I live in Port Orange, Florida, which is about 2.5, 3 hours, I guess, from Boynton Beach on the ocean side. And I never went to Hebrew school. I have taken beginning courses through my shul when I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I've taken a lot of I've got all of the cassette tape and all that and learned that way. I do love it also when I can follow along in the Chumash, but I really want to be able to read much better, and I really want to know what I'm saying in Hebrew. So I usually pick out a piece of the prayers and focus on that and try to learn that to know what the words mean. And I'm so thrilled when I do, and then move on. So
yeah, okay. So as I said, I do we'll do a little bit of that, but what I like to do is send you copies from the art scroll where I have an interlinear art
I have
scroll.
that.
It
I have
tells
that.
you what every single word means. So
Yes,
it's
I have
not
those.
like reading the poetry or the interpretation that you get in the other siddurim, which is nice, but it's very difficult to tell what every single word means.
Right. Yeah.
So
I love the art scroll for that.
yeah, for that reason, not for other reasons, but for the translation, it's great.
Yeah, I love it. I love the prayers.
All right, Iris.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Iris Pollage, and I was born and raised in Glasgow, Scotland. In 1967, I was a volunteer for the Six-Day War. I went over to Israel, and then I stayed there for 3.5 to 4 years, so I speak Hebrew.
Nice.
I learned Hebrew speech probably on the streets. It wasn't like I was in an ulpan for maybe a month, and I went on and off to Hebrew school when I was little, but no one cared about girls being in, it wasn't important for the girls.
I'm taking that course, honey, now. Okay, bye.
So I understand a lot of what is being said. I understand it because I speak Hebrew, but my recognition of words are just the words I know now.
Mhm.
They're not like I'm looking at these and I'm going like I'm still sounding it out. And last year we moved to Portland, Oregon, and I need to join a temple, but I haven't joined a temple because of COVID. I would like to join a temple with more ability to follow along. So they don't say, oh, the new girl's here and she knows nothing, right? So, I live Portland, Oregon, 7 months a year, and Boca 5 months a year, and I'm in Boca just now. That's
Oh,
me.
wow. Wow. Okay, that's that's fascinating. I one of the Hebrew teachers that I had would bring her, she was Israeli, and she would bring her, I don't know, maybe 9-year-old and 13-year-old daughters to our class because she wanted them to learn exactly what you're saying. I mean, they obviously speak Hebrew, they were born in Israel, but their reading is just not what she would like it to be. So she would make them come to our adult, Hebrew class to learn the grammar properly and to learn how to read more. So I understand, but it's so hard to understand, but I know what you're talking about. Okay.
I want to recognize words.
Yeah.
So maybe now I recognize 100 words. I want to recognize more words.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Barbara, could
good
I
to-
interrupt? Could I interrupt
Yeah.
for 1 second and just say to Iris that there are a lot of Hebrew synagogues that are now online. So because of COVID, so you might investigate something where you are and go online with them.
Well, my reason is not what you think it is. I moved to Portland and I don't know any Jewish people. So I want to join a temple I'm not religious. I'm very Jewish. But I'm not religious, but I want to join a temple to get to know the Jewish community. That's my reasoning. I mean, I do Shabbat every Friday, but that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Amy Schoenhout.
Very good, very good. Barbara, at one point, tell us where you are. But I live in Livingston, New Jersey. It's about 10 miles west of Newark. And it's part of New York Metro area. And I was sent to Yiddish school as opposed to Hebrew school, where my brother was sent because he was going to have a bar mitzvah and I wasn't. So I'm pretty good with the consonants because they use the same consonants, but in Yiddish they put the vowel sounds. They actually have vowel letters that you have. It's easier because it's not just vowel markings. So I'm not so good with the markings. And I would like to, and I've taken beginners classes at various synagogues around the area over many years, and through going to shul, have learned, to follow the Siddur and everything, but I'm not a good reader. And one of my goals is to be able to daven Musaf, because in my shul, like yours, we don't have a cantor. And so that's why I'm taking it. And also, to be able to follow along the words in a long prayer, in these prayers that you gave, for example, I can do it, it's a couple lines and we do it over and over again. But if you see something you didn't do, so I can't read Torah, for example. So that's my goal of the course. And thank you for doing the course.
Okay, thank you for telling us all that. I understand. I'm beginning to understand why my aunt, we found in my in my father's books, both show my grandfather's books, we found my aunt's Yiddish, this book from when she went to Yiddish school, but I don't think my father, that I never knew that girls were sent to Yiddish school and boys were. I mean, it might not be everyone, but I'd never heard that. So that explains why we found a Yiddish primer for my aunt. Thank you. Amy Schulman.
Good morning. I am located in Needham, Massachusetts. It's about 20 minutes outside of Boston. Grew up in Connecticut and went to a conservative shul there. Had Hebrew school, had a bat mitzvah, A lot of, Barbara, what you were saying earlier resonated, that we, learn the prayers, learn the words you needed to recognize, do the prayers, but lacking some of the meaning, the underlying meaning. I can recognize if I know what words I'm looking for, I can find my place in, following along on a Torah portion. I can't just pluck it out of the ether. My daughters are at the local Schechter now in day school, and they're learning Hebrew. And so I want to, part of this is like being able to keep up and follow along, but also just, being able to do more during services.
Yeah, okay, great. I see Amy, are you completely on or still getting on? Your picture's not up. Amy? Okay, well, while Amy's getting on, I guess I told you an awful lot about me, but not that I'm in Fairfax, Virginia, which is about 15 miles from Washington, DC. And I grew up, as I did say in the course of this, I grew up in Queens. So don't ask me why I spent my entire life in Virginia, and because I couldn't tell you. Well, I know because that's where I got a job and met my husband, but was not what I would have chosen had I known. Okay. Amy, are you here?
She was.
All right. Well, let us get started. So, Amy? No. So as I explained at the beginning, when I learned that several of you didn't have Sidurim, and that it wouldn't be easy for me to just say, turn to page, 15 in this book and 27 in that book. I needed to start somewhere. So I looked at the list of prayers that one of the teachers who's been teaching this level, for a couple of years sent. And she spent, she said, she actually said the very first week she just did introductions and reviewed the letters. But since I was under the impression that you were all coming straight from that beginning class, literally like last week, I figured there's no need to review the letters and the vowels because you just came, you know what I mean? You were just in a class last week doing all of that. So I jumped to her week 2, which was just, to do some of these at home Friday night blessings. So just, full, what is that called when you tell people full
Disclosure.
Full disclosure how I arrived at, what we were going to do today. So hopefully you all, feel comfortable enough with the basic letters and vowels that we can, start with these, simple blessings that most of us, it sounds like, did learn when we were 5, 6, 7, and 8 years old. So, so let's start. If you don't have the handouts that I sent, in the Lev Shalem, we're going to start on page 4. And in the Sim Shalom, we're going to start on page 301, because they put it all the way in the back with the home observances. And we'll just, we'll just have a couple people read the, the blessing for lighting the Shabbat candles. And I recognize that in most cases, you're not going to be reading it, you know it by heart. But, if you can look at the letters and the vowels and tell us if there's something that you don't, that you would have said a different way if you didn't have it in front of you, that you're like, oh, I always thought that was, whatever, ha'ulam, not ha'ol, whatever it might be for you. So Amy, would you like to just say hello for 2 minutes? Tell us who you are, where you are, what Hebrew you've had before. Or, oh no, you're the Amy who was here all along. Wait a minute.
Yes.
Where's Amy Schulman?
I spoke.
Then who came at the very, very end? Didn't somebody new come at the very, very end?
Yeah, she did, but she's gone.
Okay, so is there a third Amy? Do we have 3 Amy's?
No.
Okay, that's why I'm confused. We have 3 Amy's, but she left. Okay.
No,
So-
Julia Loeb left.
Julia, I know left, but remember there was somebody else trying to come on and
Yeah, Amy
she
was
was the
on
one
and
who
then
had,
she left.
and she was the one who had sent me the email that she's coming late.
Oh, that's
So
me. I've been on for a while.
The other
But I
Amy
thought your
left.
last name started with an L. Do you have a middle initial that's an L? There's
I have a
something.
maiden name that's an L.
There's something in your email that made me think your name was an L. I don't want to waste any more
It's my
time.
maiden name. It's okay.
Maybe
Can
it's
you-
in your, maybe it's somehow in your email address. I don't know. Okay.
Can you repeat those pages again between the Sim Shalom, is it weekday or the Lev Shalom, is it for Shabbat?
Both the Shabbat version.
Okay.
And in Sim Shalom, it's 301. And in Lev Shalom, it's page 4.
Page 4, okay.
So this time I
Yeah.
am gonna, did someone say something? So I'm gonna start with Amy Schulman from the bottom of the list so that I don't always start with C. And if you want to read, you know, and as I said, I recognize that most of us know this very well. And I'm not trying to insult anyone. I'm not trying to suggest that you don't, you know, I just want to hear, you know, if we can really skip on to something, you know, like how much more complicated should we get is basically what I'm asking. So, okay. So Amy Schulman.
Sure. I'm sorry, which
So
blessing? did you want
candle
me to do?
lighting.
Candle lighting. Okay, great. Just apologize. I have a dog here who wants to play, so apologies if you hear barking. It's not me.
No problem.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Okay.
Barbara, I have a question about, if you look at the word Eloheinu,
Yeah.
in the hay, so after the 2 dots, which is the A sound, there's a vertical mark. What do
Right.
those?
That is telling us that is the syllable in the word that gets the emphasis. So it's not like Eloheinu, you know, it's not Eloheinu, it's Eloheinu, if that makes any sense.
Didn't know that.
Okay,
Did it
and
not?
I think, I want to say it's called a patek. I'll look it up and let you know, but so that's a great question, and it's one of
Wow.
those. I'm sorry?
That was
It's also-
great. I never knew that.
Right.
It's also
there-
in Kidshanu, correct? It's in the word Kidshanu?
Kiddushanu.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, yeah. I have to
And
keep taking my
Vitsivanu.
glasses on and off. I can either see you or I can see my book. I can't see the book.
How
But
come
yeah,
it's in some words but not others? Now I'm noticing.
right, I couldn't tell you why it's in
Right.
some way. I mean,
But
it's probably
I
in
learned-
any, you know, I wanted to say it, maybe it's in any word that has more than 2 syllables, but it's not in b'mitzvotav. You know, so, you know, I
Barbara,
couldn't tell you
Barbara,
why.
I just came out of a Hebrew reading class
Yeah.
and the rabbi and the book we were using said that in general, it's the last syllable that is stressed when you're reading
Mhm.
Hebrew.
Okay,
And so that one is just there to tell you that it's not the last syllable that's
Okay.
stressed, it's a different
yes,
one.
that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I have a question also
yeah.
about Kiddushanu, because when I memorized it in Hebrew school, and looking at it now, I would pronounce it as the first syllable, kid,
With
but
key.
I learned it as Kiddushanu. So I'm just
Kiddushanu.
wondering what's correct.
Well, it's not kid, it's key. So that's the
Well,
first.
yeah, I'm
thing.
sorry, key, yeah,
Right.
key.
And whether or not to pronounce the 2 dots under it is called a shva. And
Right.
whether or not to pronounce the shva is probably it's probably the question that comes up more than anything I've ever known, including from myself. I mean, I have asked cantors and Israelis and Hebrew school teachers and you know, because I'm like a perfectionist. I should have mentioned at the very, very beginning that I'm a perfectionist, but I'm not going to like impose that on you unless you specifically tell me that you want me to correct anything that you say is wrong, right? I'm most likely to, I'll get like 80% of it, but I don't want to impose my ultra, but whether or not to pronounce that schwa, I have researched it and I actually found some good articles, so I'll send it to you. But the bottom line thinking that I could come up with, like the most modern thinking on it is whatever comes most naturally for your mouth, your mouth, your teeth, whatever is used in speech is what is, what we should do. Like, don't like it is no like right or wrong, whether it's kidishanu or kidshanu or if that makes any sense. Like it's whatever is easiest for you comes naturally to you, it is fine. But I will send you these articles because I don't have to tell you, the ultra orthodox viewpoint on it is different. I mean, they'll go on for 300 pages about why it matters whether you pronounce the but the from what I could tell, the most modern thinking on it by reasonable people is that whatever your mouth finds easy is what we do. Okay. So is there, let's just go back up the list. So Amy Schoenhout, if you want to read it with that.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kadashanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone who has questions about any other questions? We've already had a couple. Like, should we go on to the next one? Is anyone feeling unsure about anything here?
No, just wondered why the Dalet in Kidshanu has the line above
Okay,
it.
that's another one of those mysteries that there's an explanation for, but it's beyond, it's above what I so I'm not gonna go there.
I can tell you what my rabbi told me in my last class.
Okay.
It has to do with grammar, and we don't have to worry about it.
Exactly. Thank you.
I mean, there are letters that the dot makes a difference in pronunciation, but something like this, don't worry about it. It's grammatical.
Right. Exactly. It's a holdover from a long time ago, and it doesn't have any impact now on how we pronounce things. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry to. Okay, if you look at Eloheinu, the two dots.
Please log in through the Google Home app.
Are before the olive, no, underneath olive, before the three dots, and
that's just again, that's it's the two dots there are silent. It's pronounced as if they weren't there. It's just it's exactly the same as if it was just the three dots. It doesn't change the pronunciation. Yeah, and I have a vowel chart that I can send you, but in terms of pronunciation, it makes no difference whether those two extra dots are there or not. So, yeah.
Is there a purpose of those two dots?
There probably was a very long time ago, but
I think they're like commas.
Okay.
Commas?
I think they're like I think they indicate like a break. If you compare them to the English, I think they indicate a break, a pause.
Not well, I'm not going to say no, but I don't think not in that case. In like Torah, yeah, in tech, if I understand what you mean, I think it's different, but
okay.
Anyway, yeah. If that turns out to be true, that would be really interesting, but I had never heard that. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the hand washing, which is in Lev Shalei, it is on 77, and in Sim Shalom, it's in 313.
I don't have it in my book at all.
Sorry.
I can't find it. Can I go back to the other screen and just read what you sent me?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I couldn't find it in the Silverman. I don't,
Couldn't
I
find,
think,
I know it, but I couldn't find it. Hold on.
okay.
Oh, Hope I can get back into here again.
Kodesh Baruch et Adonai.
Okay, Iris, do you want to read the hand washing?
Netilat yadayim.
Okay,
Shu Yadechem Kodesh Uvrachu et Adonai.
okay. And that might not be, that particular line may or may not be in the Sim Shalom.
Oh, you want me to do the Baruch Atah Adonai?
That's what I meant,
Okay.
but I do see that's there. So, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvot. Let me start again. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu b'mitzvotov v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Right, okay, so that Vav, when it's, in this particular case, it's acting as both a consonant and its own vowel. So it's b'mitzvot tav. So it's got two roles, if you know what I mean? The
Right.
Vav, because Vav can sometimes just be an O. Sometimes
Ooh.
it could just be an O or an U. Sometimes it could just
Right.
be a vowel, and sometimes it could be a consonant. So in this case, it's playing both roles as vo. Does that make
So
sense?
this is this is like a good example of the prayer that's very familiar to somebody like me. But then the first line that I did, I struggled over because I don't recognize those words.
Right,
And
I understand.
I'm sure that you other ladies have a similar thing. And that's the kind of thing, like, how do I learn to know these words that I'm not familiar with?
Right. I guess it's practice, if do you know the letters and the vowel? You must know the letters and the vowels because you read it. You did read it.
Yes,
So
but I don't think I read it correctly.
it sounded,
Yes.
why don't you read it again? Because it sounded right to me, but
Okay. Seu Yadechem Kodesh
Kodesh. See that,
Uvrachu.
if you notice, it has a little line under the cuff, so Kodesh, yeah.
Sorry, can I just ask what she's reading? I don't have.
Oh, yeah, it's not in the Sim Shalom, and it probably wasn't in what I sent you. In the Lev Shalem, they have a line that they say some people say before they say the other. So I know where she is. So I just, if you bear with us, it's three more little words. Okay.
Okay, Kodesh Uvrachu et Adonai.
Okay, so it's
So the only two words I recognize are et Adonai.
Yeah, okay,
Those are like
I understand. I
Yeah.
do, I understand, but I think this is the right class because in the very beginning class, they don't even know the letters and the vowels. So, so you'll be fine. That's why we're here, is to learn how to read the words we don't know. So
Which is the Vav you were talking about that was doing double duty? Which Vav?
in b'mitzvot tav,
Okay.
after the tzaddik,
Okay.
you see? Yeah. Okay, but like, for example, in the next word in Vitsivanu.
Question, and Vitsivanu.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there's a dot after the Vav, but it's an ah sound.
Right.
And the dot I thought was an u sound.
Right, but if there's I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say the difference between the two words is in Vitsivanu, it does have another vowel. So then you use the va for the consonant and the ah for the vowel. So that's how you, whereas in b'mitzvot tav, it's its own vowel. Do you see what I mean? Whereas in Vitsivanu, you have another vowel, so it's not va, it's not o or u, it's va. So
If it were standalone without a vowel underneath, it would be u or o. But because
exactly.
it has a vowel, it becomes vav.
Va.
Va.
Exactly. Thank you. That was a good way to say it. Yep.
Very welcome.
Um,
Can I add one more thing to this whole
please.
discussion? Again, coming from this last class I just took, the rabbi wanted us to read, each letter, so, and he explained Hebrew as everything has to be consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel.
Right.
So look for that vowel,
Right.
and that will help you know whether the vav is a consonant or a vowel.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have the pronunciation of the next to the last word before Yadayim.
Nitilat.
Nitilat.
Nitilat. So the yud, that yud is it makes the e from the tet just a little bit longer than if it wasn't there. It would still be t, but with the yud there, it's nitilat, and so that's the function of the yud in that case. It's not really its own. It's not its own letter because it doesn't have a vowel, if you follow. It's kind of going back to what Roberta just said. It doesn't, if you're going consonant and what vowel goes with it, that yud doesn't have its own vowel, but it's functioning to make the E a little bit longer. If that makes any sense.
Question for you.
Yeah.
I say Se'u Yedechem. Is it Se'u or She'u?
It's Se'u.
Right. That's what I
Se'u.
thought.
When the dot is on the left, it's
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you actually have seen that? You say that line? Are you, oh, okay, you just meant today when you see it, yeah, okay. Okay, anything else about this, about the hand washing? And yeah, it is, like, I don't know why the Dalit in Yadayim doesn't have that dot, whereas, a minute ago in Ki Dishanu, it did, so. If I ever find an easy way to understand it, I'll be sure to pass it on. But after a while, you give up on these mysteries when they don't have any real function in your life. There's other things to worry about.
I always understood it. It was if it was like a break. It was a like its own syllable. It doesn't run with the word. It's that letter. Like in Natilat, it's na, it's the sound, and it's separate. It doesn't take on a vowel. It's just the sound of the word, the letter, and then the word is after it. So
what are you talking about now?
I'm so the two dots like you were talking about under the Dalit. Is that what you
Oh, no,
were
no,
talking-
I was talking
I'm
about
sorry.
the dot in the Dalit. Remember?
Oh, okay, yeah.
On the
yeah,
page
yeah,
4, on the other page, there's a dot inside the
Yes,
letter
yeah.
itself. Yeah. There's so
I
many
have that in
dots.
one of my books. Yeah,
So
I have
many
that in one of my
dots, it can make you crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay. There, what I was taught was there's the letters Beged Kefet, which is
right.
Bet and Kuf and so forth. They have dots in them because at one time, well, we still pronounce some of them differently, but it Dalet was also like a the or something. It's in very ancient Hebrew.
Yes.
That those letters we either have kept some of them like Bet and Vet, or we haven't.
Right. But I was just saying how the Dalet in Yadayim does not have the dot. So I'm just
but I think what it means is in Old Hebrew that Dalet with the dot was pronounced differently than the Dalet without the dot, just like Bet and Vet are two different things. There were two Dalets.
Right. No, I agree with you completely.
Barbara, can I ask a question? Do you think it would be helpful to screen share this page
as we're reading and allow people to use the option where you can kind of highlight what you're looking at, and that way we're all seeing the same thing? I wonder if that would be
It
helpful.
might be, but then I don't get to see everyone, and I think for me, it's more important for me to see you all than, I don't know, it's a trade-off. It's a
You still
trade-off,
should be able to see them. You can just configure it on the right-hand side, just. a thought.
right? But that would require me to, I mean, I know how to do basic screen share. Number one, I didn't have it, I didn't even, we can think about it again, but it's not what I'm comfortable with, and I needed to do what I'm comfortable with, but I hear you, and I can think about it some more. Okay, so we have a few more minutes. Why don't we'll just do the Hamotzi just to see what we can, if there's anything in it like we've been finding interesting to talk about. So it's on the same page. In Sim Shalom, it's just, I guess, on 314, but in here, it's on the same page. So does anyone, I don't know, Cindy, do you want to read just the second line, the Hamotzi?
Sure. Hamotzi lachem men haaretz.
Okay, thank you. So does anyone see anything in those words that surprise you, or that, you want to ask about? Like the mem here also has a dot in it, but it's not, it doesn't change the sound in any way. I mean, melech does not have it, and mochi does, but again, and it's not one of the, yeah, I mean, again, it's just a mystery that it's not worth, in Hamotzi, so the aleph at the end has no sound, that, aleph and ayin are silent. Lechem, not lechem. And again, if that reasoning that Roberta pointed out is correct, it's there because they want you to know it's not on the final syllable. So that's why it's there, lechem. And min haaretz, maybe the same reason. It's not haaretz, it's haaretz. So, and even though aleph, I said a second ago, is silent, if it has a vowel under it, we pronounce it, right? So it's haaretz. And the final tzadi, the final, I know some people have trouble with the final letters. So there's a great example of a final tzadi. Is there anything else in our most basic prayer that we learn when we're two that surprises anyone here? Okay, so
I do want to make one. I just had to look it up because I couldn't take it anymore. To correct my assumption on the two dots. So apparently they're called a shva.
Yes.
And they make the letter short.
Yes.
So it's like a short vowel, like we would have in English. So that's what it indicates. It's not a comma. So like sort of like we would have a short vowel, like long and short. It alters the sound of that vowel.
Okay, thanks. I all I can tell you is I don't think it has any practical, like, I don't think it has any, I don't think, like, when you say Eloheinu or Melech, I don't know that you pronounce
any different than you would pronounce.
Right. Maybe a long time ago when these dots in the, had more meaning, and I'm sure all of it had much more meaning than it does now. But now when we teach kids to read Hebrew, I don't think any teacher says, if it has those extra two dots, it's and if it doesn't, it's you know what I mean? I don't
think I noticed the two dots until today.
Yeah, I could be wrong. And, but yeah. And what I'm going to send you, the verb chart, they have different names, and they're called, it probably is called something like, I don't know. I don't want to make it up, but it'll definitely have something in the name that indicates what you're saying, that it's short or short. Yeah. But I don't think it has any practical, import today. Maybe it does. Okay. So next time we'll continue with the blessing for the children, just because, you know, I sent it already anyway, and it's on the list. And then I might send Shalom Aleichem maybe for next time, and maybe something else as well, but I will try to make sure to send you the, who was saying they have the links to both books? Because I don't have both books. If you want
I
to
did.
send those to me, I'll see if they're user friendly, and if, you know, if I send it, if everyone will be able to find it, and if and maybe I'll, you know, try playing around with screen sharing them or whatever, but I do
This is the
prefer
thing,
to-
I couldn't get to the pages. You'll see, I'll send you the links, but I
Mhm.
couldn't get the pages that you said. I mean, I can't find the blessings for Friday night. I can't find, so I will, of course, those blessings aren't necessarily in this. Yeah, they are. They are in the Lev Shalom, right?
They're in there, but in the version I have, it's only what we say in synagogue. It doesn't have the things we do at home.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what
the
that's what I'm
synagogues,
looking for. And I
when the
can't find-
synagogues contracted with the publishing companies, they were paying a lot of money for that during the pandemic. And so they only got the exact pages, you know, that they needed, and I guess nothing extra, if that makes any sense at all.
I'll send this to you, but I don't think you'll
Yeah.
find it.
Right,
friendly.
exactly, because it wasn't
Right.
in what I found at 8 o'clock this morning. It still wasn't in there, even though I thought I had found it. Right.
All about
Anyway,
money.
it's,
Quick question.
yeah.
I have access to several different Sidurim.
Mhm.
What's your preference? If we,
As I said, you know, I'm most familiar with Sim Shalom. I
Okay.
know that almost by heart, and Lev Shalem I like very, very much. Those are the two, you know.
okay, we use some Shalom at Shul, so. that's
Right, I
good.
mean, but either one of those are great. And I have a couple of others, but I'm completely unfamiliar with where to find things, but I find them. So, okay.
Does Amazon sell Sidurim?
Yes.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. So which one did you like best? Barbara?
Well, I was going to say whichever they use at your synagogue, but you didn't join one yet. I have to say that Lev Shalem is fabulous. The commentary and the additional information they put in here is beautiful. So if you're investing in one, I would get the Lev Shalem. Yeah.
How do
They
you spell
sell it at JTS also, the site, or
You can
JPS.
look on a lot of different sites at judaica.com and other things. I'm sure. if you
Rather than
Google
Amazon,
one-
you might want to buy it
Yeah.
from a Jewish source, even though it might cost a couple
Jewish
dollars more.
Publishing Society has them.
Yeah, it was less when I
Yeah.
bought JPS.
Yeah, I could send you the link that my synagogue recommends people buy them from, but
Please do that. I would like to have my
Yeah.
own. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you.
yeah. So I'll, as I said, I'll be sending you the recording from today and the supplementary stuff on the Shva, on when to pronounce Shva, which you don't have to get hung up on it, you know, and the vowels, and the things we'll be doing next week. So, and you know, maybe I'll separate it into 2 emails just so it's not, you know, it doesn't go on forever and ever, and I don't have to wait for the recording, which I don't think they'll do before Sunday or Monday, because they wait for the classes that meet tomorrow. You know, most of the classes meet tomorrow, so they don't do the recordings until Sunday or Monday or so. All right. So it was nice to meet everyone. And as I said, this should not be anyone's indication of the level that we're doing, where, you know, this was really easy, basic, just to make sure that there was no one here who doesn't know the letters, you know. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. So Shabbat Shalom.